It is universally acknowledged that any bored woman is going to pick up the book Pride and Prejudice, if not a movie rendition, and dream of Mr. Darcy. You can fill the library with as many books as you like, and you have a library? I pretty much met and married a Mr. Darcy, but we'll talk more about that later. My name is Lisa Shimkus, and I am a mom of two who went from teaching to lifing. I enjoy writing, reading, crafting, and learning. My channel is here to help you learn and grow through the use of books and writing, and to help you make your writing dreams come true. Hello my lovelies, welcome to A Writer's Corner. Today we are going to do a book review. Today's book is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. And why? Because it is universally acknowledged that any bored woman is going to pick up the book Pride and Prejudice, if not a movie rendition, and dream of Mr. Darcy. Now, I personally love the 1995 BBC adaptation of said book. However, I didn't pick it up until recently. Even then, I got to like chapter 11 or so. I think that's the part where Lizzie is staying at Netherfield Park because her sister Jane is there, being nursed back to health, and everyone's just kind of doing their own thing, either playing cards, gambling, reading, writing. It was a very boring chapter. But I picked it back up because every movie adaptation or Regency documentary that I watch references Pride and Prejudice. It's a very popular book about the time and social etiquette that the author was born into. And it's only fair that I read it in order to understand the movie adaptations and the documentaries that I enjoy watching better. I'm going to review this book as best as I can without thinking about Colin Firth's Mr. Darcy. Introduction. I read the book Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. It's a romance novel written in the 1800s about a prejudiced middle-class girl and a prideful upper-class man. Hence the title, Pride and Prejudice, or Darcy and Lizzie. The theme or message in this book is, and I'm actually going to have to read this, "Pride," observed Mary, who piqued herself upon the solidity of her reflections, "is a very common failing, I believe. By all that I have ever read, I am convinced that it is very common indeed, that human nature is particularly prone to it, and that there are very few of us who do not cherish a feeling of self-complacency on the score of some quality or other, real or imaginary. Vanity and pride are different things, though the words are often used synonymously. A person may be proud without being vain. Pride relates more to our opinion of ourselves, vanity to what we would have others think of us." And in modern English, I'm going to have to read this as well. "Pride is not a good trait, yet we are all prideful in our own way. However, no matter how prideful we are, many of us are not happy with who we are. We use the words pride and vanity to describe ourselves, but they mean two different things. You can be proud without being vain. Pride is how we view ourselves, and vanity is how we want others to view us." Mary pretty much goes on this big spiel about pride and its definition. What she's trying to convey is that we let pride blind us, and therefore we cannot see the truth or reality before us. Mr. Darcy is extremely prideful at the beginning of the novel, which makes it really hard for him to have a relationship with others. And Lizzie herself is prejudiced. This means that she makes opinions about other people first without getting to know them. And this particular person is Mr. Darcy. He wounds her pride at the ball where they first meet. He pretty much tells her she's not pretty. Darcy was arrogant and haughty when they first meet. And Lizzie just decides, nope, not him. And I admit I felt the same way about my own husband. He put on this arrogant air, and I just decided I never want to see him again. Circumstances brought us back together, and he had to make a better impression on me. Same thing Darcy had to do with Lizzie. I pretty much met and married a Mr. Darcy, but we'll talk more about that later. Do I recommend this book? Yes, in many ways. 1. The book is filled with history. If you're a history nerd like myself, I highly recommend it. Austen pours her reality into her novel. No, I'm not talking about every girl gets a hot, rich man. Austen's reality was, every man had to marry in order to have a wife to care for his home. A woman must marry in order to have financial stability. Marriage gave the both of them status, and together they're expected to procreate. Love and romance wasn't something you searched for during Austen's time. Everybody had a role to play. Our heroine, Elizabeth or Lizzie Bennet, was expected to charm any man at all social gatherings, using whatever skills and talents that she has. The most obvious being her ability to socialize and dance. And you're probably going, what? During Austen's time, you had to have some form of money or wealth in order to take part in social gatherings, i.e. balls and dances. Your family also had to have money in order to hire a dance instructor to teach the young boys and girls the latest dance moves. And two very obvious things are apparent here. Money, which stands for wealth and status, and determination. And why? Because no man or mother-in-law wants a lazy woman to run the household. 2. I credit Jane Austen for creating the romance novels we esteem to write today. Let me explain. During Austen's time, the social norms were very strict. You had to stay within your own boundaries. That means the rich stayed with the rich, the poor remained with the poor. Austen, however, played with this social expectation by allowing the heroine to connect with one particular wealthy man, Mr. Darcy. And this is what makes her work not only fictional, but romantic. Thanks to Jane Austen, romance novels today play with this idea of the rich and poor blurring boundary lines, all due to love, and not family or finances, which is actually the reality of Jane Austen's time. If we look at the actuality of Jane Austen's time, here's how Lizzie's life should have turned out. My dear Miss Elizabeth, you must know why I have asked to speak with you alone. When I first stepped into this house, I saw your sister Jane and went, so beautiful, Lady Catherine de Bourgh would not object. However, I was informed your sister has a suitor, so I decided on you. Mr. Collins, said Lady Catherine de Bourgh, you must marry instantly and well, and bring her to me so that I may look upon her with my eyes and judge if she is worthy of Hunsford parsonage. I can assure you, dear cousin, that she will find no flaw in you aside from your stubbornness. Mr. Collins, you are too hasty. You forget I have not yet made my answer. My small yet quaint home is warm and well staffed, and should we marry, you never have to worry about what little of a dowry that you have. And you can fill the library with as many books as you like, and you have a library? Indeed I do. However, I'm rather embarrassed to say that I have not the time to see that its shelves be filled and its space be used to its full potential. Yes, Mr. Collins, I will marry you. Three, on to the romance. What I love about Pride and Prejudice is the amount of time that Jane Austen gives her heroine and her hero in order to connect. They don't fall in love in 3 days. They don't fall in love in a summer. It actually takes them a year or two. And they don't even like each other in the beginning. Which tells us one big thing. Love takes time. Today, we rush into love. Many of us have childhood traumas that aid us in clinging to the first person who likes us, and then we expect them to marry us and give us our happily ever after. And guess what? No one can make you happy. Only you can make yourself happy. In other words, if you enter a relationship as a strong, secure person, which takes time to become, you may be able to have a lasting relationship. But if you enter a relationship with insecurities and unspoken expectations for the other person, i.e., give me attention, make me happy, you're going to be drowning in misery for years to come. Jane Austen made sure that both of the characters were secure in themselves before taking on the responsibilities that come with marriage. It's a very smart modern thing to do. I do not object. 4. As much as I love Mr. Darcy, he is the epitome of the type of person you do not want to marry. And here's why. Fitzwilliam Darcy, that's his full name by the way, Darcy is just his family name, is very closed off and arrogant. The only people who know him are those who have been with him for a long time, i.e. those who have a long history with him. Other than that, he doesn't trust easily and he doesn't converse easily. In short, he's got some childhood traumas he has yet to face, and you don't want to be dealing with that. And you dreamers may think, well, I can break his tough exterior. No, you can't. Trust me. Take this from someone who married a Mr. Darcy, and others who found themselves married to a brick wall who only thinks about themselves. Not only do you find yourself questioning why it is your Mr. or Mrs. Darcy won't communicate with you, but they won't care about you either. Their only concern is themselves, and you are left alone and heartbroken. And if you're going, then Lisa, how did you do it? Honestly, I left my husband. I took our children and I left him. Only once reality hit my husband in the face that he's not this great, awesome super god whose talents have yet to be noticed, because if he was, I wouldn't have left him, right? Did he start changing? And some days he's still a brick wall. Although he's finally making changes in connecting with me and the kids and communicating with us, it's still a very slow process. And I wish it didn't take 6 years to get to this point. According to John Gottman, for every one negative thing said or done in your relationship, it takes 5 positive ones to make up for the damage. Again, that's a 1-to-5 ratio. This means the other person going out to buy you one gift or one little thing to make up for what they said or did the other night does not equate. And this is how relationships silently fall apart. It's very heartbreaking to be with somebody who puts on this tough exterior and says hurtful things to you, all to protect their pride and ego. You find yourself crying alone, rejected by your own partner. You cry yourself to sleep while they're in another part of the house, stroking that pride and ego, if not their manhood. They would rather protect their image and facade rather than your relationship. And reality kicker, there is no relationship. Just the other person. You've been in a one-sided relationship from the beginning and you didn't even realize you signed up for it. I personally don't recommend this pain on anybody. As much as we all dream of Mr. Darcy and we want to marry a Mr. Darcy, he is not the type of person you want to be married to unless you want to feel alone in your marriage until the day one of you divorces or dies. My point being, learn from Austen. Strive for Mr. Bingley, someone who says, is she not the most beautiful creature you've ever laid eyes upon? In comparison to a Mr. Darcy who says, ugh, she's not as beautiful as me. I'm sorry it got really dark in this review, but I want to be as honest as possible. Mr. Darcy is not Mr. I care about you, I didn't mean to hurt you, let's work on this relationship together. He is Mr. You annoy me, why are you crying, get out of my way, I'm gonna go visit my friends and family. And some of you may even be in this type of relationship and you don't even realize you're with a Mr. or Mrs. Darcy. And I feel your pain and frustration, and I'm so sorry you have to be in this position. Some of you may be going, Lisa, why are you ruining Mr. Darcy for me? And I'm sorry, but I'm here to help you learn and grow. That's the point of my channel. We are using Pride and Prejudice to learn and grow from. It's a resource. In conclusion, I read Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice. It is a novel well ahead of its time in how to measure love and marriage and romance. I also credit Jane Austen for creating the plot for romance novels that we esteem to write today. I give this novel a 4 out of 5 stars. 4 for teaching us history, life lessons, and for being a grandmother to romance novels that we write today, and -1 for dragging in some areas. And there you have it, my review for Pride and Prejudice. Let me know which other books you'd like to see me review, comment below, and if you like this book review, watch this next one here. And I'll see you next time. Bye! Oral tales and books have always been a means of telling a story and its theme. It's where our imagination runs wild, and for that period of time we are not here and we are not ourselves. We are transported into another realm to experience love, loss, adventure, and whatnot with the hero of the tale. It's fun and magical. However, I'm here to tell you that you have been reading wrong your whole life. Here's why you should be dreaming of Mr. Darcy. Hello, my lovelies. Welcome to A Writer's Corner with me, Lisa Shimkus. I'm an indie author, ex-teacher, and mother of 2 little ones. And I use this corner to read, write, teach, learn, and be overall creative. Today, I want to talk about stories and their purpose in our lives, why we read. And I want to use the example of Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice. Pride and Prejudice is a tale of, well, exactly what the title says, battling our own sense of pride and our prejudices. In other words, from a young age, we are affected by the world around us. Our personality starts to take shape, and we start forming habits and traits that go with us into adulthood. Some of these traits are good, others not so much. Anyway, as a romance novelist myself, I credit Jane Austen for creating the format for romance novels which we still use today. This includes introducing us to the hero of the story, the meet cute, the fun and games, the all is lost, go back for the girl, and happily ever after. For more information on each of these elements, I'll link the video down below so that you could do more learning. Austen also started this idea of tropes. Prior to Austen, stories were about learning a lesson. The hero is sent on a journey to become the version of themselves that they need to be, and they come back ready for battle. Now we have such tropes as enemies to lovers, love at first sight, love triangle, the boy next door, forbidden love, and second chances, to name a few. Could I be wrong? Possibly. I'm biased. I'm also a picky reader. The time period in which Austen's books were published happened to be known as the Regency, which ran from 1811 to 1820. King George III was ill and therefore could not rule, so his son was appointed to rule as the regent, hence the Regency era. Sounds romantic, but it's really all politics. Yet, why do we view this period as romantic? Why do we dream of Mr. Darcy? There was war, a huge divide between the rich and the poor, famine and starvation. There's nothing sexy about any of this. At the same time, there you have it. Novels like Pride and Prejudice allowed its contemporary readers and readers of today to escape into another world, even if just for a minute to an hour. As we read books like Pride and Prejudice, we are transported into a world where life is simpler, people get along, nobody works, everybody knows how to sing and dance, no one is insecure or self-conscious, flirtation is encouraged, marriage, money, and status trumps paying the bills on time, and need I say is on everybody's mind. I mean, that scene where Darcy jumps into the pool? Don't look it up. It's actually not in the book. Since the dawn of time, people have been telling tales and writing on stones to tell of a world that is not our own, but can be applied to modern times. This allows us to see ourselves, to learn a hard lesson, to hope and dream of Mr. Darcy, to question our thinking, to understand others, to consider choices A, B, C before we even take action, and so much more. My point being, the next time you pick up a book, don't just get lost in the words and the world. Look at what the author is trying to tell you. What messages are they trying to convey? Because a story is not a story without a character and a lesson to be learned from page 1 to the end. This is why you should be dreaming of Mr. Darcy. Not because, screw my life, I'm traveling back time to be someone else. Because even Jane Austen and her contemporaries had similar issues to yours. You should be enjoying time with friends and family, making your own decisions, gaining exercise, questioning the status quo, climbing the ladder at work, getting ample sleep, enjoying your hobbies, and so much more. This time, when you pick up Pride and Prejudice, I challenge you to not view it as a leisurely activity, but rather a homework assignment. What can you learn from Austen aside from put your pride and your prejudices aside? I bet you'll never read it quite the same again. You're welcome. That's all I have for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you found it insightful, don't forget to like the video and share it with your friends and family. And I'll see you in another video. Until then, take care and have fun reading and writing. Bye! So you just finished a really good book. Done. That. There's no more to it. Now what do? Simple. Read fanfiction. In this video, we are going to discuss what fanfiction is, why we love it, and why it's actually good for you. So stay tuned. Hello my lovelies, welcome back to A Writer's Corner. Today's corner is my writing desk area. As you can see, it was actually very dirty before this, but shh, you guys don't know that I have 2 kids and this is their play area. But right now, it is mommy's office. If you're new to this channel, hello, my name is Lisa. I'm a mom of 2. I was also an ex-teacher. I currently work in the library systems as an office worker and I love it. On the topic of libraries and books, I've been reading all my life. I've also been writing for many, many years. And to be honest, the first book I ever wrote was fan fiction. It was written with one of my dearest cousins, and I still have that piece to this day. I've also been reading fan fiction or variations, and it had me thinking about why we love fan fiction. Disclaimer. If you want to write and sell or publish a piece of writing and profit from it, make sure that the items that you're using for your fan fiction is in the public domain, because there are some copyright laws and rules and regulations that you will have to work around if it's not in the public domain. So do your own homework. But if you just want to write for fun and put your writing out there because you're not ready to let go of this world or characters, then there are some fan fiction fandoms in which you can put your writing up on for free. So let's keep talking about that. To begin with, what is fan fiction? Fan fiction is exactly as it sounds. Fans of a particular fictional world create their own writings of said world to keep it alive and going. Examples include Pride and Prejudice, Star Wars, Doctor Who, Harry Potter, Sherlock Holmes,
The Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, Vampire Diaries, Marvel, My Hero Academia, BTS, Final Fantasy.
Wait, some of these are not based off of original writings, but you get the point. Fanfiction can include characters, setting, trademarks, and so on. As of 2024, most items created after 1928 are now in the public domain, and you don't have to worry about copyrights when borrowing from these items. But at the same time, please do your own research, as this area is still very tricky. And of course, you don't want to get in trouble. You don't want to, find yourself in lawsuits or whatever not. So yes, do your research. I will not be listing all of them in this video. To put it in simplest terms, fan fiction is a creator's alteration of an already existing work. Say you want to write about another journey that Bilbo Baggins in The Hobbit goes on. That's your own fan fiction. You want to write about other students and their mishaps at Hogwarts. Fan fiction. And you finally want to give Robert Langdon his happily ever after the Da Vinci Code. Fan fiction. So why do we love fan fiction? There are many reasons we love to read and write fan fiction. From a writer's point of view, we get to write. It allows us to explore a fictional world that we still love. We also get to gauge audience attention and retention on our writing style, our book, whatever you want to call it, when we choose to share the writing. We also get to practice world building with an already existing world. And we get to play with these characters and make them to our liking, so pretty much we're working on character development. We get to play with a whole new journey and plot structure, which is a lot of fun to do, and so much more. From a reader's point of view, we get to re-enter a world we are not yet ready to give up on. May the characters live on! We also get to read works by other writers and explore new situations and scenarios that the characters are faced with. Pretty much, the adventures also get to live on. While we're on this topic, I actually gave myself a writing challenge to see if I could create my own fanfiction novel, story, whatever you want to call it, just to see if I can succeed. And I will actually make a future video on that process. So stay tuned by subscribing to this channel, like this video as well to push this out to other viewers, and let's continue. Here's why fanfiction is actually good for you. I don't know if this is factual, but I feel like there's some taboo or shame around fan fiction. Like, we're not supposed to write them, we're not supposed to read them, but we do anyway. I could definitely see where the troubles may lie. Say you take a clean and wholesome romance novel and turn it full-on erotic. That could be disturbing for those of us who like the original work. You rewrite characters' personalities and their romances in comparison to the original work. Or you change up a meaning or message that the author had, which could spike up some controversy. But I'm not against fan fiction for reasons listed and what I'm going to say next. Firstly, it's magical. We get to steer a whole new story in a whole new direction. We get to try out a scenario and scrap it if it doesn't turn out. We can give characters a second chance or a second life if they sadly met their demise prior. We get to continue the story and the adventures of our hero and heroine. We get to practice our writing style and voice and get better at it. There's no right or wrong way to write fanfiction. It's a completely open world to work with, hence it's magical. Secondly, it's therapeutic. Whether you read or write fanfiction, it's therapeutic all around. Reading allows you to escape into another world and be free of your daily stressors, even if just for a few minutes to hours. Therefore, it's also a stress reliever. And writing fanfiction allows you to express your thoughts and emotions and work through them rather than hold on to them, which is bad for you. Thirdly, it's a great writing challenge. As a writer, my daily challenge is to put something down on paper to see my own progress. As you all know, I am on draft 4 of Project Emily. I'm also working on Project Amy, and I've got about 3 other projects that I'm working on in the mix. And I do this to keep it fun and so that I'm not bored, mundane, and I don't hit writer's block. That's something I learned from James Patterson. And it's a challenge, but I like it. Fanfiction allows me to better my skills, meaning all the skills I've listed prior, as well as not having to take this so seriously. Now, Project Emily is a more serious piece of writing for me, hence I'm a lot slower on it. The editing for sure is the slower piece. But when it comes to fan fiction, especially the one I'm writing, I don't have to worry about that. I could just have fun and go to town. Which brings me to number 4. Fourthly, it's fun. As mentioned before, fan fiction allows the reader and the writer to explore new scenarios, new character transformations, new relationships, and so on. There's no certainty, no right or wrong. Basically, the story can go in any direction that the creator wants it to. The creative endeavor is endless, and that's what makes it fun. And fifthly, there's a sense of community. Lovers of fan fiction, especially those in a specific fandom, get to experience belonging and community within said fandom. They can connect and discuss through forums and discussions, and even form friendships through this one commonality, which is creating fanfiction or reading fanfiction. In conclusion, there are many benefits to reading and writing fanfiction. Because of this, I wrote my own fanfiction as a writing challenge, but I'll discuss that more in a future video. Until then, thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe for more in the future, and I'll see you in those videos. Therefore, take care and have fun reading and writing. Bye!